A Canadian school sent out an all-staff notice advising the use of they/them pronouns for students until their preferred pronouns were expressed. This was a respectful action to make some students feel more comfortable. Unfortunately, this sparked crazy protests from right-wing nuts who stomped on the LGBTQ pride flag. No respect for other people at all. No decency. This was a metaphor for how they feel about the LGBTQ community, what they would do to us if given the chance, what they are doing to us today in countries like Russia, Uganda, and Saudi Arabia when the lunatics take over and have free rein to torment, torture, and murder their LGBTQ population. Here is a profoundly disturbing video from the right-wing protest in Canada. In the video, they are shouting, "Leave our kids alone." They shouted these hateful messages on a street with 2 high schools and a primary school. What a horrible, despicable message to send to children. They were encouraging bullying. These fundamentalists are always whining about sexualization of kids. But no one talks about sex more than they do. They are obsessed with it. They do so publicly. And in their twisted minds, it's okay to incessantly talk about sex as long as it's in a negative way. If youth gang up and call a classmate an anti-LGBTQ name, that is introducing the topic of homosexuality into schools. But the right is okay with sex talk if it's in the form of bullying. But if you try to respect that same kid with pronouns, they freak out. So name calling that kid something ugly is fine, pronouns bad. That's the way they think. And the goal is clear. I mean, it's to shame LGBTQ students, make them think something's wrong with them, even if it comes at the expense of their grades, which is why they're going to school in the first place, and their mental health. Sexualizing in schools is a fake issue created by right-wing extremists to scare paranoid and ignorant people, so they will hate LGBTQ folks. The real problem is what I call bigotizing, not sexualizing. The right-wing parents who were protesting in Canada are abusing their children by teaching them to hate. These are lousy parents, the worst. They are systematically stripping their youth of innocence by injecting intolerance into young developing brains. Often they are using religion as a cover for their bigotizing. This is the real grooming, and it's becoming more widespread as Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis and other troglodytes like that have emboldened and encouraged this type of despicable behavior. You know, interestingly, in this video, they show a Muslim woman teaming up with Christian fundamentalists to have their children stomp on a pride flag. Doesn't this Muslim woman know that the originator of anti-Muslim sentiment, the ones pushing it, are these Christian fundamentalists who despise them? I don't get it. They're being used to form a coalition of religious convenience that's ultimately going to backfire, because as soon as they oppress LGBTQ people, I promise you, as sure as the sun rises and sets, they're coming for these Muslims as well, because they don't believe in freedom of religion. They believe in a state-sponsored religion. It's critically important everybody see this video, even though it's disturbing, because it spotlights what happens when you have leaders of major political parties, like the Republicans, pushing this garbage. And now this nonsense is spreading to Canada, our northern neighbor. So it's not just staying in the United States, it's being spread by extremists throughout the world. We have to double down to protect everyone, all people, and make sure everyone has freedom and liberty. And we must fight back against these fundamentalists who are trying to jam their religion down everybody's throat and create a cult of conformity where everybody dresses the same and has the same haircut and the same religion and same sexual orientation, because that is their vision of society. And if we do not do something about it right now, that will be our society. We see it in other countries like Russia and Iran, and we need to fight to make sure it doesn't happen here. Because only you and me and people who believe in Enlightenment values can stop these oppressors from terrorizing society and changing the rules and changing constitutions and putting themselves in a position where they have power over your life.